Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva, and I'm joined by Sam for the Game Week 23 preview. And Sam, how excited are you to finally be 2 weeks away from massive double game week? And obviously, a very happy owner of Darwin Nunes. Since
You know what, Siva? I was too excited. So excited that I activated my wildcard in the last game week in preparation for this upcoming double game week. I have to say, I am happy with my current team. Like looking at it, I've taken a look at my bus team and there's nothing I would change. But what's painful is the team that I got rid of scored extremely well. Let me tell you, let me run through a list of the players I took out. Took out Destiny Udogi,
10 points,
Trippier,
assist, okay,
Watkins,
goal,
Saka,
goal, 10
10
points,
Nkunku.
goal.
Came on ahead a goal. And none of the replacements did anything. I brought in Estupinen, 0 points. Got Trent back in 1 point. Got De Bruyne, who at least returned, but yeah. Oh, I got rid of Michael, who also got a clean sheet, but he probably would have been on the bench anyway, maybe.
You spent weeks and weeks talking about Everton and Mikolenko, and then he finally returns. You don't have him. In Nkunku, you went ahead, didn't have him. You have this.
I replaced Michael with Brantwaite, Jared Brantwaite, who is cheaper.
Okay, fair enough.
But he's on my bench, which is part of the problem. So
you brought in Alfie Doughty, who also was bench. Sam, I'm going to stop you here, but I think every time we don't do a pod for a few weeks, because we were, I was not feeling too well this past week, so we didn't do a pod. And I feel like if we don't do a pod for a very long time, you start getting weird and you start doing stuff like
I think so.
No reason for you to wildcard with half of the season left to go. And when you said to me you're wildcarding, I said you're making no sense.
Yeah, I think I need this pod, Siva, so that you can be my voice of reason and shut down any weird ideas that I have. Without this pod, I'm just stuck with my own weird ideas and I end up doing weird things.
I will say that this is the one season where I feel like you could have done something silly like this, where you walk out very early, just because teams are so heavily templated anyway. Like I sat down and thought, like, even if you were to wildcard tomorrow or next week or in a few weeks' time, the difference is maybe 4 or 5 changes. Like, you're not going to make a wholesale difference, right? So I think you've not destroyed your season, but you've obviously you've sort of Eric Ten Hag did. You've made it quite bad, and you've sacked a few players, and you've picked up some guys from nightclubs in Ireland, and but it's not done yet. You still got hope. So
season's not over. Yeah, season's not over. Just have to pay a big fine. That's all. But I'm back. I'm back in it. Wildcards are meant to be like over the course of a few game weeks, right? It's not just the immediate game week after that. So you save me anyway. I'm just gonna point out that my points difference from my wildcard is at negative 29.
But I will say this: if you're not scoring less points with your wildcarded team than your original team, are you really playing FPL the way it's meant to be?
That's true. Yeah. If Udogi doesn't score his first goal in, I don't know, when was his last goal? Ages ago.
Long, to be fair. But it's only a second. It's only a second goal this season. But yeah, I'll give you that.
True.
I'm having an okay week. I mean, we don't. We're not going to talk too much about our game weeks, but I'm on 64 with Solanke to go. So because I have boring template team, so plus Burnleno, who's doing really well.
Oh, see, I have one more. Oh, sorry. Before we move on, one more kicker in my wildcard team. Amin Al-Dakil, who kind of lost his place, kind of came back, sat on my bench for ages, did not do anything. And the week I wildcard him out, he scores a goal against Manchester City.
Probably going to have to explain who Amin Al-Dakil even is, what team he plays for, because nobody listening is going to know who this guy is. But yeah, Burnley defender,
3.8 defender. 3.8. right? And he just sat my bench the entire time. Didn't do anything. He lost his place. Like he was my bench warmer kind of early in the season. Lost his place. Barely started last game, and then now he's back. It's like, if there's any week you would feel safe while cutting a Burnley defender out, it will be the week they play away against City. Lo and behold, 1 goal. So
I mean, because we're not gonna spend, we desperately try not to spend too much time on our teams, but the main theme of your wild card, right? And we don't want to analyze it too much, but basically you wild carded in KDB and Haaland, and I thought that would be a good segue into the main question that we have this week, and it's from FPL Vardy Boys, but you'll hear this question from everybody else. Now, Vardy Boys tweeted us today and asked us, what are you doing in terms of getting Haaland in this week? Like, because a lot of people have a front line, not you, Sam, because you are carded, but normal people have a front line of Solanke, Watkins, and Alvarez, or maybe Darwin, right? So, do you bring in Haaland this week? Now, you went early. You went straight in. I'm going Haaland as soon as I have a sniff that he's back. He came on, played about 19 minutes, had 2 shots, one decent chance, a header, I think, came quite close. But obviously, he needs time. It's been out for 2 months. So, having already brought Haaland in, were you satisfied with what you saw? Would you recommend everybody else start moving to get him in this week? And at the risk of selling somebody like Alvarez, who scored twice, Darwin, who did Darwin things, who managed to somehow hit the post for. Sum it up.
break the Premier League record for a number of times the post is hit. I worded that really badly. I'm sure there's a better way to word it. He hit the post 4 times.
Yeah,
New
post
Premier
and
League
bar 4
record.
times.
Yeah.
Mr. Penn.
One of it was a pen. My goodness.
Mr.
I
Penn.
swear, if he did not get his assist, I would have been so pissed off.
It was a really good assist, by the way. He runs around the great cross in for Diaz. In fact, he had a really good, again, typical Darwin game, really involved in everything. Even the penalty was bad, sure. It's his first pen miss in 13 attempts. It's amazing. He saved it for this one day when
I wildcarded him in.
even
He's
better
been returning consistently, like every single game week for the past, I don't know, some time. The bright side is that he's getting into good positions, but yet I would take bad positions but one good finish over multiple good positions but no finish.
Yeah, but that's Darwin for you as well, because not only is this like first pen miss in 13 attempts, he also managed to rob Jota of an assist because Jota gets fouled for the penalty. So, I mean, as a
Jota's goal was so sweaty, by the way. Anyone who went Jota, like, oh, I'm so smart. Like, come on, man. What kind of goal was that?
I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's a typical Jota goal. He just wants it more. Like, and that's like the most FIFA goal you can score. And Jota everyone knows is a FIFA player, right? He's like weekend league 30-0 and stuff. And yeah, he just wanted it more. It's not
full disclosure. Yeah, I don't have Jota simply because it's harder to fit in a midfielder. There are more options in midfield compared to strikers. And I could have gone both Darwin and Jota, but the thing about the schedule is after the double, they blank, right? Liverpool blank. So you have to find a way to navigate. Maybe it's a case of thinking too much, I'm like planning too far ahead. Oh, I'm only going to have 10 players or 9 players in that blank. So I need to make sure I'm not overweighted on Liverpool and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, okay, so we've got the schedule up on the screen for those who are not watching the YouTube video, but basically, yeah, so Ben Krellin's schedule. And we are recording this Thursday afternoon UK time. We still haven't had our double game week announced as I check my phone. So Liverpool's double in 25 is still expected but not announced. And it is risky because we could get to 25, and this not being announced could be an issue. So ultimately, though, you got Jota. People who have Jota are happy because they have Arsenal next. Arsenal don't keep clean sheets. Burnley, 24, easy game. If you get your double, you get your double. Even if you don't, you're still going to have a game against Brentford, pretty decent. So I think, Jota and Darwin still pretty good picks. I don't think there's anything to worry about that. But coming back to City, right? And that's sort of where we started this, right? So, Sam, as a Haaland owner, do I need to get Haaland this week?
Do you need to get him in? I don't think so. However, it would probably be a good move to give it. Although his cameo was really short, so it's not really enough to judge his form, right? But what we could see was City as a whole, how they play, and then kind of replace anywhere Alvarez was with Haaland, right? I think KDB back is an insanely huge boost for them in terms of their creativity. I think they were really struggling without KDB, I think. But it's just the whole dynamic of the team has changed. And you want Haaland, I think, to catch that. If increase creativity, increase attempts at goal, increase better quality chances. You want the guy who's going to be at the end of those chances. Alvarez this week, but will be Haaland as the season goes, probably next week onwards.
Okay, so let's do a hypothetical, because I think this is where it gets hard. It's easy to say that Haaland's a decent pick this week, sure. If he starts, if he doesn't start, we don't know, because they play Monday night anyway. So, I mean, leaks aside, I don't think you're gonna know, which we'll talk about later. But let's do a hypothetical. Would you sell Watkins, who plays Sheffield United, for Haaland this week?
That is a good question, Siva. I would. I think simply because Haaland's just so expensive. Your other options are maybe sell Solanke, right? I think that's the template.
Yeah, funds aside, let's take it one by one.
Oh, funds aside. I know apparently Bournemouth might have a bunch of double game weeks in 27-28, right? Maybe. Unlikely, but there is a chance.
No. I mean, they may, but there are no guarantees here, and it'll probably be either one. It probably won't be both. So, I mean, I wouldn't.
Okay.
27-28, it's quite long away, but okay, we'll take it one by one, right? So Watkins this week plays Sheffield United. Solanke this week plays Forest at home. So, would you sell either of those guys for Haaland? Bearing in mind that both Watkins and Solanke are guaranteed 90 minutes, and Haaland, you would not be surprised to see him play 30 minutes.
I think I would sell Watkins.
Against...
But you have to take a kind of long-term view on it. You sell him with the risk that Haaland may not start and play 30 minutes. But it's a calculated gamble, I guess, because if he does start, you want in on that action, right? And there's no way to get confirmation on it.
I think it's insane that you'd be, even if Haaland was guaranteed a start, it's Haaland away at Brentford versus Watkins away at Sheffield United. Like, Sheffield United, by far the worst team in the league. So why?
Hey,
No, I don't see this. I don't think this is even up for discussion. I think the only reason you're even suggesting is because you have Haaland and you're stuck with him. I don't see why anybody should be going for Haaland this week. I don't see any reason why they would rush Haaland back in, because they are the best team in the world. They don't need him to beat Brentford. They could probably do that without him. I think at best, Pep had a quote after the game against Burnley, and he said that if we were leading 7-0, very modest from Pep, if we were leading 7-0, I'd have brought him on at halftime. If we were drawing 0-0, I would have not probably played him at all. And it's hard to read a lot from Pep, because Pep, first of all, it's not his first language, starter. Even when Haaland's news came in on Friday, Pep said something like, apparently he's fit. And I'm like, apparently, bro, you pick the team. What's apparently here? But anyway, I think what Pep is trying to say is that Haaland is still working his way back in, and if they don't need him, he'll get a bit more minutes. But if it's in a situation where the game is closely fought, he's not going to force him straight into the action, that kind of thing. Long story short is, I don't see why Haaland starts. And if I don't think Haaland starts, why would you sell Watkins before Sheffield United? You're asking to miss out on a hat-trick.
It's not coming. A Watkins hat-trick will not come unless it's the week I welcome him out or something like that.
You don't know Watkins right now, right?
Yeah, so therefore he'll go on a run of goals, actually. So that tends to happen. Yeah.
There you go.
Would you take 45 minutes of Haaland against a team they are already winning like 3-0 or something. 3-0 at halftime. Good. The opponent's defense are in shambles. 45 minutes of Haaland versus 90 minutes of Watkins against Sheffield.
Do you think Brentford will be losing 3-0 at halftime to City?
Well, with this City, who knows?
At the G-Tech, mate, you know, a fortress in some part of London. I'm not sure where Brentford is. I mean, I don't see it happening. I don't think. Sure, it could happen because you know you can get 2 pens, and Watkins isn't on pens, and probably a good thing as well.
Irrespective of score, then there's 45 minutes of Haaland versus 90 minutes of Watkins.
It's definitely more risky if you say 45 minutes than 30 minutes. Sure, I'll give you that, but I still don't think it necessitates a sale simply because Watkins has Sheffield United, and I still think that's the best fixture anybody's got going right now.
So are you saying that don't bring Haaland in, or are you saying don't bring him for Watkins, bring him in for someone else? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Or are
I
you
think
saying just stay away from Haaland?
I think it's a bit of both because the issue for most people is, I mean, again, you aside, most people have either the option of bringing Haaland in for Watkins, Solanke, or Alvarez or Darwin, and it's I think apart from Darwin, see Darwin's the only person I'd be willing to sell in this group of people. That's because Darwin
With a
plays
double?
well. See, okay, so bearing in mind that the double is not confirmed, whereas Haaland has a confirmed double, so I don't think you lose much by selling Darwin in that sense. Um, Also, the fact that Salah's running on grass. Well, pictured walking on grass. Don't know what that means. So that gives you some leeway in terms of getting rid of Darwin. But I appreciate Darwin has Burnley next week, so it's not easy. So then you go back to whether you sell Alvarez for Haaland, and I can't possibly bring myself to sell Alvarez this week. I mean, he's just got 2 goals, and Pep just said Alvarez is one of the best players in the world. So like, I mean, that's classic Pep, right? That means he's going to bench him next week. I know.
Next week.
Long story short, I can't.
Someone has to miss out if he starts Haaland, right? Or when he eventually starts Haaland. It'll be
It's
either be
one of
Foden or Alvarez.
it's one of those, like, I feel you can afford to be a little late to the party. You know, I think you can afford to wait. I don't think any of the guys we're talking about, Haaland, Solanke, Darwin, Solanke, Watkins, are worth selling this week for Haaland. Maybe next week, but not this week.
What if Pep? Do we get a press conference before? We do,
We
right?
do, but he's Pep. He's not going to say
No.
anything.
What if he says yes, he will start. Haaland will start the next game.
I would be willing to bet all my very little life savings that Pep's not going to say that.
No, but I mean, like, if he does, we can't change the podcast, right? So for all the benefit, we are gonna give them what to do in every single scenario. Benefit
Sure,
of
we
the
can.
listeners.
We
If
can do
Pep says
any.
Haaland will start,
We can do any scenario one. We can do a scenario where Chelsea didn't burn 2 billion on a squad that's mid-table. We can do a scenario where Man United are a half decent team. We can do any scenario you want. You know.
answer the question, Siva. If Pep says Haaland will start in the press conference, then
Yeah,
would it be worth selling Watkins for Haaland?
sure. I mean, if he says that, then yeah, I'd sell any of these guys. Yeah, sure. A
So
guaranteed start Haaland.
your concerns are purely just minutes, right?
It's minutes plus fixture. You add them up, right? It's the same reason why I didn't feel the need to get him in this week. I didn't think he was going to play enough minutes to justify it, and I think I was proven okay this week. So yeah, I'm prepared to take that gamble.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so it seems like you're slightly more convinced, but I guess this isn't really an issue for you. It's more one for me. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Haaland is a player where. So I brought him in this week, maybe a bit early, but I have no qualms keeping Haaland, right? There's like zero what in my mind, like, oh, that was a bad move. I shouldn't have brought in Haaland. Because he will do well eventually, right? Like he will come good. So that's what I mean. Like it's one of those moves. It's like I don't know what you call it. A blue chip move, maybe. Where eventually he will come good. You may have gone a bit early, but it's a good player to have in your team. You can't complain having Haaland in your team right now.
yeah, yeah. I think it's fair. And if I had to sell someone out of all these guys we're talking about, I feel like somebody like I love Dominic Solanke, right? And yes, Bournemouth may have a double in the future. You don't know, but I feel like he's still a striker playing for Bournemouth, right? And I think,
True.
yes, home to Forest sounds like a really good fixture, but I don't think this Forest is as bad as Steve Cooper's Forest. Like I think Nuno's Forest is a bit more solid, a bit harder to break down. It wasn't
Yeah,
like as if Arsenal dominated them per se, and 2-1 is a fairly decent scoreline. So I think,
yeah, and I think a lot of the both Arsenal's goals were kind of gifted to them by bad goalkeeping. I'm no goalkeeper. I'm not an expert, but I feel he maybe should have saved those.
Matt Turner didn't play professional football until the age of 16, and it really shows. I mean, every time he steps on a football field, I get that from him. Like it's an inspirational tale of how somebody really is not qualified to play this game, and has somehow managed to magic his way into a Premier League contract. Um, but I mean, dude's still gonna play this week. Although Forest are signing a keeper as we speak, it's their 8th keeper in 3 years.
They can't sign one and play him in by this weekend, can they?
Uh,
I don't know.
I will not put
Maybe.
it past them, but nevertheless, I still don't think. I think Dom Solanke is the one guy. I'm underestimating Bournemouth, but I think I'd be comfortable. I'd be okay selling him as opposed to Watkins ahead of Sheffield United.
True. I think the only argument for keeping Solanke is that when they do get a double, if they get a double in 27, it'll be Burnley Luton. If they get in 28, it'll be Sheffield Luton. Like, wow, those are amazing fixtures.
Yeah, you could be reversing the transfer again. See, this is why it's making it really hard to sell any of these guys for Haaland. Okay, I think we've exhausted that topic with very little conclusion. Um, let's sort of move back to let's talk Liverpool briefly, right? So Liverpool, because we were discussing that result, and
Wow, Conor
any
Bradley is such a player, man. Wow,
yeah. So
what a performance by him.
would you dare to go for Conor Bradley?
Trent is coming back. I mean, as good as you are, you can't displace Trent unless they're gonna move Trent to the midfield. I see some people talking about it. I don't know. I think if you were to go for Conor Bradley, you're a bit too late. You should have went in like the moment the injury news came in.
Yeah, but I mean, one to consider. I mean, if we get to say game week 24 and he's still playing, then I think a really good enabler for 25, which is
You mean like if Trent plays in the midfield and Conor Bradley's plays?
no reason why they can't. I mean,
Mm.
the form he's showing, and Klopp's got nothing. I mean, Klopp's going anyway, so he probably
Yeah,
doesn't care.
like, just mess around this season.
Yeah. And
But
to
yeah,
be fair,
great play,
Conor
great play.
Bradley doing well is kind of how Trent started, right? He's just some random teenager they threw in, and it just worked. So maybe
Yeah.
that's just history repeating itself. I mean, there's not really much else to discuss this week, right? Apart from Haaland, any other transfers you'd even consider making that aren't Man City or Liverpool related?
Well, if Ngunku is really back, no, don't go there. I was really impressed by Timo Werner. I thought he played a really good game.
From one
But
Leipzig Chelsea forward to another. Okay.
the problem is that Spurs blanks in 26, so not a good transfer. But one to keep an eye on because they have a high chance of doubling.
I don't
Wait.
not for a while.
Oh no,
No.
sorry. No. The argument to get them is that they will play in 29 blank, which
Yeah.
if you're not planning to free hit or something, you need this kind of players.
Yeah, so that's a fair point. Although I will say this about Timo Werner is that he's playing left wing and Son will be back before 25.
That's true. That's
Regardless
true.
of how well they do, the Asian Cup final is 7 days before game week 25. So I think that's probably where Werner's starting run ends because, I mean, he'll be competing him, Son, Brandon Johnson, Richarlison for that front three spots. My guess is Werner and Johnson are going to be alternating. But he's
True.
done well. He's definitely done well. I think Richarlison now looks to me like, I mean, you've got him, I've got him. Easy pick if you don't already have him, regardless of the blank. Just
Oh man, with Madison back, like he doesn't even need to anything. His goal was just like he was just
tap in.
happened to be there after other people did all the work.
That's the perfect kind of goal you want your midfielder 7.0 midfielder to score.
Yeah.
On pens until Son comes back, I think. I mean, we don't know that, but I'm going to assume that.
Eze and Olise. Eze Olise.
Okay,
Olise.
look,
Eze.
I didn't get Eze thinking maybe Palace a bit questionable now. I don't expect Eze to kung fu kick a goal in. Okay, like what? Like he first he scores a kung fu kick, then he scores one banger from out of nowhere, and then
Yeah,
Olise does
Olise
another.
scores a banger. Yeah.
Oh, it's tiring.
It was insane. And when they're both together, they are so exciting to watch. The problem is they haven't really had many games where they both started because they've both been injured in their own periods, you know.
Yeah, they both limped off anyway. So
Yeah, and then they both limped off. So that's the problem, man. But I tell you, if Palace, you know, maybe there are talks that they want to switch their manager.
they'll be talking about that till Roy's in a wheelchair and in the retirement home, but it's never gonna happen. But the interesting thing is Palace. I mean, okay fixtures, right? But they play Brighton this week. Is that a good fixture or a bad fixture? I don't
I
know.
have no idea. I have no idea. Stupinen with his consistent returns every week until I will cut him in, proceeds to get 0. Oh my goodness.
Who concedes twice in 3 minutes to Luton and then gets subbed off at halftime? Like that's how bad it is. Deserby just, but maybe Deserby saving you from minus points. To be fair, so
Maybe just give me a nice 0. Oh, you know who's impressive? If you're looking for a cheap striker, sorry, not a cheap striker, a cheap midfielder, James McAtee at 4.4. Like if there was among, I mean, you know, people want to get Haaland and stuff. You will need maybe a benched midfielder. Of all of them, he is definitely the best. James McAtee, Sheffield, 4.4, scored a goal, guaranteed starter. I think, kinda.
is Garrett starter sure. It was one of those goals that I mean he had no right to score, uh, but both of his goals so far have been very sort of weird, like I don't know, random efforts. So yeah, fair enough. I mean, good player. I think former City, right? So yeah, decent. Ben Brereton Diaz, obviously, you're looking for a forward, right? If you really want a Sheffield United player, I mean,
But if you, I mean, yeah, he's 5, so it's cheap. But I think if you're really looking for cheap, Adebayo, who scored the hat trick, 4.8, slightly cheaper, and seems to be the starter now. I don't follow Luton enough, so maybe a Luton fan can what? But he had
no,
8 goals already this season. I mean,
Carlton
3 of it
Morris is
came in one game, so yeah.
yeah, Carlton Morris is not the main guy anymore. It is Adebayo. The only thing is, so where are we at Luton? Because I will tell you that before the Brighton game, I flirted with the idea of getting João Pedro, and then I just didn't have a forward transfer to make, so I didn't do it. Had I had a forward transfer to make, I would have brought in João Pedro and probably even captained him. So the fact that they get smashed 4-0 and he gets hauled off injured is not something I foresaw. So now you have Newcastle playing Luton this week, and again, we're all going in thinking, okay, Gordon's gonna haul and Trippier's gonna haul, and Fabian Shah might even be on pens because Wilson Isaac are both out, and Fabian Shah used to take pens for Basel like 10 years ago. Um, who knows? But so is this a good fixture or a bad fixture for Newcastle? Like, do you play Gordon? Because I see some people benching Gordon.
I would play because I think I don't know how they kept a clean sheet against Brighton, who is supposed to be like one of the most attacking teams in the league. But Luton, aside from the Brighton game, they tend to concede but also score. They have scored a lot of goals, you know, this season. For a team in their position, they just can't seem to, you know, close it up and win the game. So I'm okay with having a Luton attacker like Adebayo. I think really cheap. That's one. I have also a Luton defender, but I mean, you don't get him for his clean sheets, you know, attacking potential, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think Luton are a bit underestimated.
You didn't even mention the defender's name, mate. Alfie
Alfie
Doughty.
Doughty, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, for those who I thought we mentioned it earlier in the pod, but anyway,
I'm,
Alfie Doughty, this is his 5th game week in a row that he returned, and
and then there are
6
analytics
returns in the
guys.
past 7. Yeah,
there are analytics guys who own Kyle Walker and bench him based on secret team leaks, and they still can't get any points, mate.
I knew Kyle Walker's not going to start. Do you see the whole interview he had about having another child and stuff?
I did, but I just thought that Pep would be appreciative of how this guy is multitasking, mate. He's having, I mean, he's had four children with 2 women whilst also winning a treble. I mean,
I'm pretty sure Pep has said in an interview that Kyle Walker's a bit dumb. I may be paraphrasing it, but I swear that somewhere in my memory that he implied that Kyle Walker's not the brightest person in the world.
I think with the greatest respect to Kyle Walker, that's probably quite evident. I mean,
Anyway, other than that, I don't. Okay, so for I don't think we mentioned it, but we are actually recording before the last 2 games of the game week, which is West Ham, Bournemouth, and Wolves United. So we can't recommend players from those teams yet because we have no idea what's going to happen.
yes, and we base all our recommendations solely on the most recent fixture, nothing else. So therefore, we can't tell you um, anything about that. One thing, to come back to Luton, right? And it is interesting. Maybe this is why you should be maybe conservative, or if you could save a transfer this week, you may want to do that, because let's just say we get to 23 or 24 and Salah is looking like he will play 25. You'll want to afford Salah and Haaland. And in order to do that, I mean, especially me, like I've messed up my team structure completely getting rid of Salah. The only way I think I would be able to afford a Salah back in is getting somebody like a Elijah Adebayo or an Alfie Doughty, a Ross Barkley. Like, you may have to go
Alfie
in on
Doughty is
Luton.
4.5. It's not even that cheap.
Fair. But Ross Barkley is pretty cheap, right? And so is Adebayo.
Mm.
And Luton plays Sheffield United in game week 24. If this double happens for Liverpool, it'll happen for Luton as well in 25. They play United, so easy fixture, and then Liverpool. So, I mean, then suddenly a Luton play becomes very important to your planning if you want to fit Salah and Haaland. So maybe, just hold your horses on transfers.
True. I'm rolling my transfer this week, so in preparation for 25. Although, the problem when you make a team for a double game week is that I have no idea what to do, because I kind of want this exact team to play that double game week.
You take a deep breath and you resist the urge, my friend.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think both of us are sort of trying to get through 26 without using free hit in 26. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I will probably go in with just 10 players, not even a full 11. And I think I'm okay with that, because you got to think long term sometimes. I don't want to take out a player just to bring him back in.
Yeah. Although I will say that, free hit 29, which is what everybody seems to be working towards. Just looking at the screen now, we'll discuss chip strategy in more detail as the fixtures become clearer. But I think free hit 29 looks like almost like a lose-lose. Like the fixtures look so bad.
That's for those who are listening and not
Yeah.
using their eyes right now.
I'm sure they're using the eyes, mate. But yes, go ahead.
Let's list it down. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, game week 25, there are 2 confirmed double game weeks, which is for City, for Brentford, and then very likely but not confirmed yet, double game week for Luton, Liverpool. The week after that, confirmed blanked for Luton, Liverpool, Spurs, and Chelsea. And then we move on. That was 26, 27, 28, fairly normal game weeks. 29, we have a massive blank. Well, it's not confirmed yet, but very likely massive blanks with only 4 teams that are confirmed to play: Brentford, Burnley, Fulham, and Spurs. Chelsea and Arsenal are likely to play, but not confirmed. And then everyone else possibly blank, likely blank.
I'll help you out there. Chelsea Arsenal only happens if Chelsea lose to Villa in the FA Cup replay, which happens the week after this. So, not inconceivable that also goes by the wayside.
So yeah, my argument against a free hit in this week is that you're free hitting with only 4 teams that plays, right? Maybe 6.
You'll get 6 because it'll either be Chelsea, Arsenal, or Villa, West Ham.
Okay, 6 teams. But you will already have a few players from those teams, right? Like, you probably have some Spurs players, maybe Chelsea players, maybe Villa players. You know what I mean? So that there's not a lot of high upside I think in previous years I've always free hit in this kind of weeks. This year I think I will experiment with just biting the bullet and trying to make it through with just free transfers, and then using the free hit instead of defensively in a blank game week, using it offensively in a double game week.
Yeah, I mean I'm more, let's put it this way. I'm more open to using free hit in 26 than I am in 29. Like I don't mind 26 because despite what we said just now, 26 Liverpool and Spurs and Chelsea blanking, these are good teams. So I want to keep their players. So I don't mind, well, Chelsea aside, I don't Cole Palmer. I don't mind free hitting in 26 and then keeping all my Spurs players who will play in 29, and that's already 3 players. If you get 3 for Brentford for the double in 25, those 3 can play in 29. You can get Toney. I told you to get Sam. I told you to get Toney 3 weeks ago. And
we
you
didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about Toney.
we didn't talk about how you didn't listen to me. I told you to get Toney before he came back. You said, let's just see what happens. Don't you get him the week after?
I think.
Too much of a gamble. And you did not bet. You went against the house, man. The house always wins. Toney assist and goal this week. He's fresh. He's on fire. He's gonna score against City. He's gonna do it. And then Wolves, and then the double. Like, fixtures be damned, mate.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would have made that transfer if I did not wildcard.
They just didn't listen, mate. And they're gonna play Burnley in 29. Like triple Brentford, easy. You load up. You get Toney. You get Jensen. You get Maupay at the rate it's going. Maupay doing the Madison celebration. Yeah. And then posting on Instagram later saying that
angered the first team to come back.
Angered this first team. Posted on Instagram later saying, I've got more trophies and less relegations than James Madison.
I have more goals. I have more career goals and less. I don't think he has a trophy.
Okay, we said less relegations. He said less relegations.
Less relegations and more goals. That's what he said. More career goals, not top flight goals. But yeah.
Also, I mean, it's
very specific.
Striker saying he's got more goals than a midfielder. I don't know, mate. I don't know what you're trying to prove. Okay, we've gone around the block. Let's zero back down captaincy, because captaincy this week is all over the place, right? You could go City guy against Brentford. You could, Solanke against Forest. We talked about Watkins against Sheffield United. This week is tough.
It is. Right now, my captaincy is on De Bruyne. If Haaland starts, you'll move to Haaland, I think.
Okay, so we'll assume that you won't get news. So you're captaining De Bruyne, I think, is the answer. That's
solid, consistent, safe, boring.
Can't argue against that, to be fair. I think this is a hard week, Like I consider Richarlison, but
Richie doesn't get more than 1 goal. That's his problem. Very consistent, great asset to have. Maybe not a good captaincy material. Low ceiling, high floor.
Alvarez, I mean, no reason why.
I think Alvarez, could be a good captain. If you can take the risk that he, like you said, he just got 2 goals. He should not be dropped. But,
minutes risk still. But, I mean, no reason, why he shouldn't get a goal before he comes off. Came off with 10 minutes to spare this week. Beyond that.
Cole Palmer, home against Wolves. Yes, they got smashed last week. You're hoping for a reaction. Very cliched term.
I mean,
and
yes.
In terms of double-digit hauls, Cole Palmer is still right up there. High ceiling.
I mean, he somehow finds a way to append every time, I need it. But I don't feel comfortable about that. We didn't talk about Anthony Gordon. So Newcastle at home to Luton.
At home. So he'll score a goal. 8 points for Anthony Gordon every home game.
Yeah, but 8 points doesn't feel like a captaincy, like
that's like Richarlison, same thing.
Yeah, I kept Richarlison this week, but yeah. I mean, we're looking at this odds sheet now from Rob TFPL. It's on the screen now. You can check it out. But I mean, they highest predicted scoreline here is City against Brentford. So maybe,
maybe
KDB, I guess. Yeah.
But that's about it, I think. Not that many options.
I'm quite jealous of you having KDB because that feels like, okay, he's expensive. Somehow there's a comfort blanket there. Although, price has no correlation to his ability to return points. I guess
But
what?
it just feels wrong to captain someone who is cheap, right? That's what you're saying.
No, I captained Cole Palmer 2 weeks ago, and you didn't. And
But that was out of like necessity in a way because there just were not options. Like KDB was out, Salah's out, Son's out, Haaland's out. You had to captain someone cheap. If they are fit, there's no way you will still captain Cole Palmer.
I don't bring price into it, mate. I purely look at the fixture.
If Haaland and Salah were in your team and Cole Palmer, they had worse fixtures than Cole Palmer, you would still captain one of them.
I mean, that's because Haaland and Salah are better players. But we're going in circles because neither Haaland and Salah. I don't think anybody is captaining Haaland this week. So we will park that. So again, it comes back to help me out because I'm leaning between Watkins, Solanke, or Alvarez.
I think a
those
City player, first choice. A City attacker, whoever you have.
It's got to be Alvarez, I guess. Away from home, I don't know. Something about being away just doesn't. I don't know.
With the Brian back, it's a totally different thing. It's a totally different team.
To be fair, I mean, De Bruyne, like that second goal that Alvarez scored is just that's all De Bruyne. Like he sees it, he reacts to it, and that pass from the free kick, like no right to. It shouldn't be that easy, but he just saw it. Yeah, so fair.
Yeah,
Can't argue.
and then Spurs against Everton. Everton has been like somehow getting clean sheets every game. Somehow.
Yeah. I thank all the Pickford sellers who got rid of him early on. So happy that nobody's getting any points. But they post about it every week, which is quite funny. Really,
Yeah,
no Watkins, Douglas Luiz against Sheffield United.
Watkins low ceiling. Come on.
Suddenly another 24-pointer. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you didn't go there.
I don't have Watkins, so.
This chart also has United down to score 2 goals against West Ham. So without the benefit of knowing tonight's result against Wolves,
Rasmus Haaland.
Yeah. Assuming Rashford's
no one has
not
him
available.
anyway, man. No one has United attackers anyway, so it's an irrelevant discussion.
I'm thinking of the one guy out there who's.
If Bowen or Kudus does really well tonight, maybe.
You're not going to captain them at Old Trafford, mate. Nobody's that negative about United.
That's true.
So that's it, man.
That's it.
Okay.
Maybe if you had Isak, you could, but no one has Isak either, and possibly injured, right?
Most likely injured. Yeah,
injured. They have no strikers.
And you're not
Anthony Gordon, false 9.
Yeah, so are you sold on a Gordon captaincy? I'm not.
No. I'm still going to captain De Bruyne, but I'm happy to play Gordon, to start Gordon.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about Gordon playing false 9. Like I worry that him playing false 9 means he's gonna drift out of position and have to accommodate Almiron and Jacob Murphy and all these other guys, and and he won't actually get
it. So in conclusion, it has to be a City player, right? And then after that, a Spurs player or a Villa player. Like that's the only options, and maybe Cole Palmer.
It's not Cole Palmer, but yeah, we'll stop at those other options.
Fourth choice, Cole Palmer, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Fourth choice, yeah. All right, I think that's us for this week, right? We're not really going to make much more progress than this.
That's it, guys. So, yeah, get your green arrows,
and we will see you for Game Week 24.